Good evening to you all. Can you hear me? That's the first question we would like to ask. Well, welcome to all of you for this first FIRA, International Forum for Agricultural Robotics. I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming here in Toulouse. And I hope hundreds of you following on YouTube, despite a few technical hitches because of a Wi-Fi connection, but we hope that it's going to be solved. We had high expectations in terms of turnout, and we are pleased with the number of people today here. So we'd like to thank you once again. We'd like to thank as well all the partners who made possible for this evening to take place and also tomorrow. So the cluster robotics place and a number of medias, Trade, Entraide, Madness, and Agriculture et Nouvelles Technologies. So the presentations tonight will be taking place in two periods. First of all, there will be a keynote by the co-founders of Naïo Technologies. They will present their point of view of robotics. And then they will also present the range of products. Aymeric Barthes will be responsible for this presentation. Then there will be a second part to the evening with the opening of the FIRA, the International Forum of Agricultural Robotics, during which we will have a number of presentations by people from the industry. I think that you have the program in your hand. We will be very privileged to listen to Maët Lelanne. She is a coordinator for the local authority in Le Morbihan in Western France. Philippe Janot, unfortunately, cannot be here tonight, and he apologizes for not being present here. However, we will present his slides, and they will be available for download. So he would like to apologize, and we apologize on his behalf. Then David Colliot is a researcher at Sony SHL. Timo Buchner from Arcofend. Maurice Gonk is an engineer, robotics engineer at Bosch Deepfeld Robotics. Allard Martinet, development manager at Precision Makers, and then Guillaume Suc from Groupama. The presentations will be mostly in French, but also some of them will be in English. We have decided to have this double language in order for this knowledge to be available to as many of you. This is something that lies close to our heart. So if you haven't done that yet, you can get a headset through which you will get simultaneous translation. There will be time for Q&A. So every 2 to 3 presentations, you will have an opportunity to directly talk with the speakers through the microphone. Now, we're going to give the floor to the keynote of Naïo Technologies. This keynote will be made by the co-founders Gaëtan Sévrac and Aymeric Barthes. They're already here. So the company, for those of you who maybe do not know the company of agricultural robotics was founded in 2011 in Toulouse. We have 21 salaried members of staff, and the headquarters are a few kilometers from here. So now I'm going to give the floor to Gaëtan Sévrac and the microphone as well. Thank you.
Bonsoir à tous.
Good evening to you all. Thank you very much for joining us in big numbers here for this keynote here. First of all, we're going to present the keynote. This is our first keynote, and then later we will introduce the FIRA, the forum, which will continue tomorrow as well. So as Gwendoline just said, if some of you in need of translation have not taken the headsets, we still have a number of them available. So if you have a last-minute change of heart, then Romain here will be very pleased to give you a headset. Okay, that's fine. So it seems that everybody is, everything is all set. So it was explained, we're going to switch from English to French according to who is making the presentation. And we're going to start with an introduction as to why the FIRA was organized and why we're delivering this keynote. So I'm going to ask a question to Gaëtan.
We had the idea for this event. I remember, of course, and we do not prepare this question. No, I remember, this is a true story. It was the last spring. We were in the train coming back from Germany. And we were in Germany to visit a partner. And we just figured out that we felt and we still feel a huge interest from a lot of people for this field of robotics in agriculture. And so as we felt this huge interest, we also felt it would be very interesting to connect all these people around this specific field of agriculture robotics. And we imagine, at this moment, we imagine a huge event, like a big show, like a Tesla or Apple keynote, with a lot of huge announcements, like we will have 10,000 of pre-order of our products or small things like this. Then we check the available budget. And we figure out that yes, a classroom with 50 people invited would not be so bad for a first edition. But when we sent the invitation, we had a lot of interested people again. So today you are almost 200 people in the room, and most people even following us on internet. So thank you very much for coming. And we do not just have any kind of classroom. We are in the Purpan Engineer School, which is one of the bigger engineer school in agriculture in France. So this is very important and strategic for us to be here. Let's start the keynote. I go back to French, so you can check everything is okay with your translation device. Thank you, translation.
C'est pas So now in French, so Naïo Technologies is a company of agricultural robotics, and we are deeply convinced that robots will make it possible for farmers to produce quality food in sufficient amounts without any negative impact on the environment. To put things into perspective, I'm sure that you've seen that curve already. This is the evolution of world population over time. And you can see that in the last hundreds of years, there have been a steep increase of population. Now, if you look at this curve, this is the decrease in the number of workforce in agriculture. This information comes from an American study, but we have exactly the same trends in French. So more and more people to feed and less people working to feed the world population. And despite that, we realize that the majority of people, the majority of us, can be fed every day. This is rather good news, but there are also side effects to that. Not everything is so rosy. There have been counterparts to producing in such amounts and at such yields, and the detrimental impacts have been on pollution on the environment, on increase in the wasting of food being wasted, and also a deterioration in the quality of life for farmers. So in parallel to this, quality of food has been decreased. So all this is not very nice to hear, and population wants this to change. Myself, yourself, everybody would like the situation to change. And we cannot blame the farmers. They also want things to go in the right direction. It's just that it's a job that is extremely complex. When we ask their opinion to farmers about the situation, what they're telling us is that if they are supposed to do everything society would like them to do, hence reduce the use of fertilizers, increase the quality of food, increase the quantity of food, while having a globalized market in the process of growing and pressurize on price, then, you know, the job is just changing. They're not only driving tractors, they are also managers. They have to deal with marketing plan and they have to implement difficult technical solutions. And so most of the time what comes back when we talk with them is the lack of time. They do not have enough time to do in a given day all the important things that they'd like to do. And that is why we're here. We try to contribute and help and go in the right direction. So today what we propose are weeding robots. Why would you need weeding robots? Well, we've realized, and it came from the farmers, if you get to automatize that operation, that you do not need weed killers, you can improve their working conditions by improving the working conditions and making it less painstaking and reduce the time that is dedicated to weeding. This, in turn, increase the productivity and the yield of the farm and increase and improve their working conditions. So this is a first step. Tomorrow, what we're aiming for is to try and create a connected farm, a complex ecosystem in which the farmer will be able to access robots. The robots, through sensors, will be able to collect data, and those data will be fed back to decision-making tools, and robots will work together. So farmers will be able to access the right decision at the right time and make the right decision, and then do the right thing with the right robots, and the robots, of course, are bound to improve with time. So they will operate in a complex ecosystem, but will be connected, interconnected, and more efficient. Just to give you the overview on a not connected system, just try and imagine working without internet for a day or a week. That is the sort of environment we're working in at the moment. So Gaëtan talked extensively of Naïo's vision, our vision for the future as well. My task now is to talk about today, what happens now, and what we're going to go about this in order to reach that vision. As Gaëtan said, we mostly work on agricultural robots. According to us, this is a first step to make that vision come true. So this keynote today is not only as a sole objective to present our weeding robot that you can see here. It's on the picture. It's also displayed in the hall. So we're not here to present ours. We're here to also present new products and new products. We have not less than 3 products. Today we are very happy, very proud to present you our entire range with 4 robots. So Oz, Bob, Ted, and Dino. This is a family of robots which are aimed at being used in the farm for grapes and green market farming on bigger scale and smaller scale exploitations. We're going to start with Oz, our first robot. So this is the weeding robot for smaller market farms. Oz is the first robot that was marketed in the world for this specific public, and Naïo Technologies devised that robot. So you can see that robot, it makes it possible mechanically to weed. So it has tools and it goes 2 to 3 centimeters in the ground and it cuts the roots. It's fully autonomous and it is guided with a camera and a laser at the front through which they can make decisions, and you don't need any interaction with a human whatsoever. This robot, we've sold 70 in France and Europe. So most of them are in farms, but also in experimental settings. It is possible to order them or ask for a demonstration directly from our internet website. So for all of you listening through YouTube, I would like to invite you and go on our internet website to ask for a demo or order directly your robot online. So we also produce other robots, as I explained before. We have a whole range. For the same target, we've also decided to cover and to answer another need, the one of a bigger surface automation. So this is Dino, and I'm going to start a video right now to introduce you to that new addition to our family. Here we go.
Non. Du coup, sans transition publicité.
So, a bit of advertisement doesn't hurt, does it? Now, Dino is a new addition to our family. It's the first straddling robot which is marketed in the world. So, saying marketed, it means that it's already been sold out there. The 4 first prototypes that we developed were already ordered. One of them will be delivered in Denmark. This robot, have you understood probably, was already marketed. It's sold out for 2016, but we're in the process of producing a new series. This series can be pre-ordered for delivery in 2017. So we've presented the range for vegetable crops. So ours for smaller crops, for smaller farms, and Dino for industrial vegetable crops. Wine growing in the vineyards was an opportunity for us for a long time, and we've been thinking that ours or Dino could be used in the vineyards. As a matter of fact, after a few experiments in the field with the Interprofessional Institute for the Champagne wine and a number of other partners, academic partners, we have decided to change strategies. And caring for the needs of vineyards is now part of a complete strategy of Naïo. So we're not going to make a distinction between smaller and bigger farms, but we're going to talk in terms of size of ranks. Those are vineyards in the Champagne region with smaller ranks. And for that, we have created Bob. Bob makes it possible to read when you do not have so much spacing in between ranks. So the technologies are them as the ones that are embarked in our vegetable crop products, and it has exactly the same characteristics. We've produced 4 of them, and unfortunately, I regret, but I'm also deeply pleased to say that there's only 1 left. So for those of you who are interested, who would like to test that device, well, I would like to invite you to get in touch with our sales representatives or connect directly on our websites. So we talked about those vineyards with smaller ranks and our robots for more classical vineyards with a straddling device. His name is Ted, and we're going to discover that robot on video.
TED est un robot électrique enjambeur développé spécifiquement pour la vigne par Naïo Technologies.
So it's a straddling device which has been developed in a partnership with a laboratory for research in robotics in Toulouse academics. The role of this academic partner was to support Naïo as a specialist in robotics in the special industry of vineyards. So we have defined the specifications, the environment, and the constraints that are specific to vineyards. First application is mechanical weeding in the ground, and the vine growers are deeply interested in using that robot because it makes it possible to save time. So after weeding, we'll continue to propose other functions in order to continue the maintenance of the field of the vineyard and avoid using fertilizers. And it will also be used to spray phytosanitary products. And you can see here the demonstration of the spraying of the sanitary product. So TED is a robot for vineyards with a specific scope, and will make it possible to do mechanical weeding. Generally speaking, all the robots that we've created aim at weeding, but all the robots that we've created will make it possible to be upgraded with other functions, other tools, in order to, for instance, dig over or hoe or plow, or maybe also seed. And this will evolve with time. And those robots will also be a very good vehicle for data collection, and data collection is also part of a strategy. To conclude on this last robot, this product can be pre-ordered on our website. There will be 4 manufactured in 2017. I think that we have covered the range of our products. I would like to invite you at the end of the evening during our cocktail to visit the exhibition space so that you can see the products close up and ask questions to people with green shirts like Gaëtan and myself, and we'll be happy to provide you with more information. Now, in order to produce and manufacture those robots and to be here today, in the last 5 years, it's not always been very easy. And of course, we would like to pay tribute to our team which is dedicated every day and has been with us every step of the way, highly dedicated. I would like to also thank our first customers and our customers today. And they've gone through rough times, but they made it possible to develop our product, make them more reliable, and they also made it possible for us to develop new products. I would like to thank our partners as well, who made it possible to support Naïo and believed in our prospects. So from the bottom of my heart, I would like to pay a deep-felt tribute. Now, I would like to conclude with a very emotional clip for me. So that was some 5 years ago. That was a chassis of a mowing device, and it didn't work very well, as you can see. So we've come a long way, and well, there are many beautiful prospects for the future. Thank you very much.
Voilà, j'imagine que ça peut.
Right, so I suppose that there may be questions now, so we can have a Q&A session now. So if you'd like to ask a question, then we're going to circulate a roaming microphone, and we try to see you, although it's a bit dark. So there's the first question here in the room, the gentleman here. Good evening. Oh, the microphone's not on, which doesn't really help, does it? It's going to be working. The tech guy is coming. We're going to change mics, I think. Probably the safest option.
Allez-y, on va répéter la question.
Oui, voilà.
Les robots ont un certain coût.
So those robots cost between 75 and 80,000 euros. No pictures, please. No pictures. So,
est-ce que ça sera vendu dans le cadre de CUMA?
will it be sold within the framework of CUMA, for instance? Well, to answer your question, for small vegetable crops, there are very few proposals for CUMA. So they have not been sold for the time being as a shared ownership scheme, but I think that it will be developed for bigger vegetable crops. And it's probably interesting because it helps you make better use of the machine. So cooperative use of this machine. We've been contacted by company also who would like to purchase a robot and then lease that robot to farmers. There may be another question in the public. Oh, well, I have a second question. So do you do customer care as well and after sales? Well, we have distributors in France and abroad as well, and they're trained to perform after-sale care and maintenance and repair. So the distributors are in charge of everything that has to do with after-sales. Well, I know that you really are targeting weeding, but would you like to develop in the future precision treatment with phytosanitary products? Well, this is a topic in high demand with farmers in order to reduce the dosage of phytosanitary products, to use less in a more targeted way. But it is not very easy to implement on smaller electrical robots. So there is a real need, but from a technical point of view, there's a lot of work ahead. We've already made a test with weeding with weed killer, but we have a request for treating the leaves of vineyards. There's a demand as well. But again, there are many challenges that we have to face, and I think it's going to take some time before we can really market something. We're going to work in cooperation with the engineer school and the academic background in order to try and retrofit other tools on the robot. Your turn to answer. Just to continue with your answer and the question that has been asked about the cost and capability. The systems already exist, capability to dose phytosanitary product while the tractor is being used in the field with system like SMAG, for instance. So for nitrogen spraying, again, there are two reasons why it is difficult. You need power to spray very small drops in the leaves. So you need power to create the drop and also to create enough wind to have the right dissemination. And then the treatment volume, we're talking about 300, 400, 1,000 liters of product mixed with water by hectare. And today, the electrical devices, the small, lightweight devices, are not developed to carry the weight of 1,000 liters. So those are the technical limitations that we have at the moment. Are there other questions in the public?
You've been working on making the robots independent by solar caption of energy?
We've done the math, and technically it is not very profitable for our solution because the problem is the size of the robot. For our small robot, if you cover it with a solar panel, you will just get enough energy to increase the autonomy from 10 minutes each 4 hours or something like that. So it makes the robot more expensive, and you do not have a lot of feedback on the energy autonomy, because the solar panel need a lot of surface. So for example, for the smaller of our robot, hose, if you want to charge it in 6 to 8 hours, you will need 4 square meters of solar panel in the good direction for the sun. So just having solar panel on the robot, it is not efficient enough in energy at the moment.
Thank you. Oui. D'autres questions? Ah, on en a beaucoup.
Oui, bonjour. Kalimand, je viens d'Indonésie. Je voudrais savoir quels sont...
Good afternoon, I come from Indonesia. You talked about limitations in the load that can be carried by the robot. What would be the maximum load that they could carry today? This is a question for mechanics, but I think, without being mistaken, the smaller robot us can carry between 19 and 100 kilograms. The bigger robots, Ted or Dino, we haven't tried formally to test how much it can carry, but I would say a few hundreds. Then the question is, where are you going to place the load? How is it going to be fixed? But if you'd like to have more details, then I would like to invite you and talk with our mechanics later after the presentations. Are there other questions in the room? There is a question on the internet that we're going to read out to you. Or maybe we give priority to the questions in the public, and then we'll read the questions that have been sent through the internet. You decided to use a technology with cameras. There is also a technology named GPS, which has been proven. So why did you choose a camera-based technology? Well, that's a very good question. We started 5 years ago with cameras and lasers, and initially it was even only lasers, because GPS technology for owner of a small farm would make the product too expensive, and so it was not possible to add GPS technology. And also we had a number of issues with GPS signal reception, especially when we had smaller farmers in region close to forests, for instance, where the signal coverage was not so good. Now, on the bigger robots, Dino or Ted, the straddling robots, we are in the process of working on GPS solutions like RTK, which you come across in robotics, in agricultural robotics. And so this technology will be an add-on to the camera technology that we use, because those are not exclusive. It's possible that you lose a GPS signal, and you may have farmers who do not want to use GPS signals. So cameras will continue to be provided with lasers and GPS on the bigger robots. We have a question on Twitter apparently, but there is another question in the public. Good evening. I have 2 questions. Are you going to be interested in other types of culture other than vegetable crops and vineyards? And are you going to evolve your range? Are you going to create more robots with more functions? So to answer your first question, well, please come back next year during our next keynote. Yes, well, of course, we're going to widen the range to other types of crops. I'm not an expert, but what specialized crops? Again, I'm by no means a specialist, but I'm going to try and target other types of crops, not necessarily cereals, but other types of crops, more specialized. When it comes to the different type of robots, we do not want to be very general or to be too generic. So maybe we're going to develop a new robot, but what we're going to do is develop the existing robots. So Naïo is growing. We are hiring to have a bigger team in order to face the needs for new tools and robots. So we have a Twitter question which I'm going to read because you have the hashtag FIRA 2016. It's an active hashtag, so of course you're invited. Sylvain Bringuier says hello. So he's asking a question on TED. So have you seen TED? Can we see TED walking with a farmer? So TED, as it's been presented in my keynote, has never been marketed. It's in the pre-order phase. So TED has never worked with a farmer alone, but it worked with farmers around it and in the setting, in an experimental setting. But it shouldn't be too long before it is implemented in real-life farms. Right, for other questions, we'll have time after the next session for next Q&A. So that was the keynote. Now we're going to officially open the FIRA first edition of the Forum of Agricultural Robotics. So I'm going to give you the floor again to present the challenges that you have to face and that you would like to face with FIRA.
Again, to launch such an event, FIRA, is the opportunity to bring together all the people interested and working with the robots in agriculture. And not only, there is a lot of events in the world based or focused on the research area for robots in agriculture, and we wanted here to give the opportunity to the people who want to bring those robots to real farmers and not only to scientists. So yes, make these people meet here and have the opportunity to create. This will happen mostly tomorrow, but maybe tonight around the cocktail. Try to work together to make happen community, yes, let's say community, or at least some project we can start together to deal with some issue related to agriculture and robots. For example, one issue is what about the worker that the robot will replace? This is a question we often hear, and of course we cannot answer this question only us, Naïo Technologies. We have a lot of technical answer and thought about this question, but we cannot answer it. It's a very complex question alone. So yes, let's take the opportunity. We are here together to create something and to start to build this community and to be proactive on such complex question. And of course, we want to do a second edition of this event next year, and we hope to do not organize it alone. So all the people interested to organize this event with us next year are welcome to join the team. Thank you.